Friday, May 12th. We're doing reps with this homemade log press. What's up YouTube? Saturday, May 13th. So I want to share with you guys the exercises I do to make my katas look sharper. So more hip stuff. So of course you need a resistance band. That would help out a lot. And all you can do is hold your arms straight out like this and twist, rotate towards your right side. And then do the same thing on the other side. And then you can start adding watts to it as well, right? So one side to the other. You guys should all know this one, attaching it to your hip and hipping forward this way. What I rarely see though is people hipping backwards. So going around the back this way and hipping back. That way you're working the push and pull motion of your hips. Another good thing to do is put your knees side to side on the floor. So you're gonna go like this. So then you can do the same thing using a stability ball, right? Also, if you have a barbell at home, it's good to do stuff like spinal twists, but slowly with control, going back and forth. Another good one is just getting like a medicine ball. This one's filled with water, it's about 40 pounds. You just keep your feet off the ground and twist back and forth. So you can do the same exact thing with a plate, maybe 10 pounds, 25 pounds, just twisting back and forth. Also, something I noticed a lot of people don't do is doing 2 pulses on each side. So that's gonna help you work on those faster twitch muscles. Rather than just doing one long one, just do 2. You could work that with any of the exercise I just showed. So Jeremy from This Karate Life asked about workshopping Wansu. So whenever you're trying to learn a new kata, the biggest thing I want to say is emphasize the pulling hand and emphasize the sync of your stances. As you get more comfortable with kata, you're more prone to just walk through it and stuff like this where you're not pulling the hand all the way back. It kind of gets lazy. I'm going to show you guys how I kind of run through katas when I'm first trying to drill or get the workings of it down. So a lot of it is just repping out specific movements that I feel aren't powerful. Our sensei always said the most important movement in a kata is the one you're doing right now, the one you're doing right in that moment. It's not the one you're gonna ki with in 10 steps from now. It's not the one you're waiting for at the end. It's any movement that you're currently doing. That should be the finisher of the fight, right? So that should be the most important one. That's why our katas don't have a lot of like slow moving isometric looking stuff or flowery looking stuff. We try to make everything feel like it's a finisher, it's a break, it's ending the fight as best as we can. So you see that part, it felt like my sync wasn't as fast as I wanted it to be, so what I'm going to do is just drill that over and over and over again. And then also, the syncing in my horse stance my knees didn't flare out as quickly as I wanted. So I'm going to rep that out and then I'm going to come back. So here are the results. I figured as I'm syncing here, and I'm stepping back, I want to hit this foot forward. So it's kind of like adding a whipping motion so that I can recenter myself. Dun, dun. So this knee points this way so that when I step this one out, it kind of diagonal, straight, right? So it adds like a side to side hip torque, which hopefully you didn't see in the first video, my first attempt, right? So stuff like that, I'm workshopping segments to make it feel as aggressive as possible. So let me try it again. So yeah, imagine doing that for every single movement in every single kata you know. Your kata is gonna look very different than what you do now. Monday, May 15th, back to work. So Alan Mockbell from Facebook asked us about our preferred stance for self-defense. see it after Aaron finished these curls. We'll get to that.
Busy. Damn it. Yeah, busy. So for self-defense, you really want to provide as little of a target as you can for the assailant or whatever. A lot of people have the term of like body blading, which is shifting so that you forming a blade with your body, right? So it basically just turns that you're basically only providing like this kind of a Taekwondo practitioners use this a lot, right, for throwing kicks really quickly. When it works, like in a street fight or anything, really, it's just you're providing a smaller target, right? Less for people to hit. When you're here, you give everybody like everything to kind of tag. Here, like people have to reach really far to get to like your vitals and your head, right, versus it just being in front. So you're creating an extra barrier for somebody to have to get through. It also lets you shift and move laterally pretty easily, right? Because you're just stepping, walking back and forth versus having to pivot one way or the other. Other than that, you want to be mindful of like, well, if it's from like a position of somebody's like they're about to attack you, like and there's like pushing, shoving, or talking or something like that. Well, then you would want to like body blade and have your hands in a position where you know that they can get in the way of something relatively quickly, right? So you don't ever want to be in a situation with somebody yelling at you, barking in your face, with your hands down to your side like that, right? In a public situation, there's people around. You also don't want to be clenching your fists like as a sign of aggression, right? Because depending on like who wins and who loses and lawsuits and stuff like that, you have to be mindful of like what's going on, what other people see. So you want to use like, you want to keep your hands open. You want to be like defusing the situation, telling people like, hey man, I'm sorry, all this kind of stuff. So doing all these kinds of things, talking with your hands, kind of a deal. That kind of helps create like this barrier, this bubble, which we talk about like when we talk about using like a universal guard, right? Kind of like that. So you're essentially kind of creating the same thing by going like, hey man, I don't want any trouble. You're creating that thing, that barrier, that guard. Same thing happens if somebody puts a hand on you, kind of a deal, right? You don't want to have somebody have their hand on you and you just maintain this like upright position, right? You would want to immediately like take a step back and try to bring them off guard by anchoring to your body and that sort of thing and so forth. So. Just carries around apples, huh? Just to look cool.
I'll just throw jabs. Let's get like 10 reps. So you jab, I block and counter. Okay, 1-2s, no counters yet. I'll try throwing faster but a little lighter. Real light, both attack, both defense. I'll attack and you block, take. Block, take. Hit, or block, take it, and counter. Alright, so we were asked about multiple attackers. Since it's only me and Aaron, we can't get a third person here, so I'll just show it with guitar picks. What you want to do is called stacking. So let's say there's two bad guys coming at you. You need to make sure you're not surrounded by them. If you could find like a wall to get your back against, that'll be perfect. If you're in an open area, then all you gotta do is make sure you stack one guy. So as they're moving in, you work around so that you're kind of in this line, this straight line. So any configuration they have as they're walking, you need to make sure that you always follow this type of stacking. Even running towards that stack. So maybe this guy is coming around, so you need to make sure you work your way around to here. That way you're never surrounded by 2-on-1 like that. And also, don't think of it as like an endurance or cardio game. I see a lot of martial arts where they treat multiple attackers as like everyone's surrounding you, so you gotta punch your way out of it. If it's something like this, you gotta make sure you gotta clear an area for yourself. So pick a person and drive towards them. That way you can turn around, and again, regardless of how many people there are, you're just gonna try to stack. The longer you wait, the more likely it is you're gonna get surrounded. So you need to act quickly, but also act smart.